Hello, everybody. Welcome back for vlog number 2. I'm Carmen here presenting vlog about for week 4 about introduction to psychosocial development. There was a lot of reading for this particular week and for this vlog. I enjoyed the reading pretty much. It was a lot to take in for a lot of different types of students. I think it's interesting that in each kind of in both of the books they start off with a narrative for the student development and college theory and practice with Evans. They started off with three totally different type of students, gender wise, age wise, background, military, fresh in college, just a lot of different things. And then with the Harper and Quay book, it talks specifically about students of color. And I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but it's Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." That's the only thing that I could think of while I was reading this. Is there's so many different types of students, and I think sometimes we forget that each student is different, whether they're male or female, or black or white, and just going through all these different changes. And a couple of questions that kind of came to me is when I was reading all the different theories is at first it was a feeling of overwhelming because you have these vectors that are very generalized and you think, oh, this is for all my students. And then you go to the other book and it's like, oh no, men are different. They learn different. They develop different. And then you have this development of women and this development of LGBT community and then the development of African Americans and Hispanics and Asians and all these different things. And it's just like, who do you start with? And for a student coming fresh out of high school, age 18, they don't really know much either. So they're coming to us for help as student affairs professionals. And I think just kind of piggyback what we talked about in class is we as professionals need to make sure that we have our own self identity to be able to help our students navigate through this process of development. And I think Harper and Quay does an excellent job of talking about how changing the onus or perspective of how development works instead of pinning it all on students. Us as faculty and student affairs professional need to make sure that we're available to these students when they are going through crises. We have to be available to actually push the support and challenge system for them. But in this overwhelmingness of theory and student population and diversity and everything, I guess the biggest thing for me is how do we find that balance as student affairs professional? I know the book gives a lot of different suggestions as far as um, summer bridge programs, orientation, student organizations that's different to each population of students. I mean, there's evidence that backs it up that student organizations can be beneficial in safe space and different things like that. But I guess truly, how does an institution, whether it's a HBCU, a PWI, how does it find that balance of what's important to my students? How do I help this population of students develop without crashing and giving up completely with all these different things that are thrown to them? That was one question. And then another question that kind of, well, it's more of a statement that I guess can kind of prompt the question, is we shouldn't put our students in the box. I think one of the biggest critiques that the seven vectors got was that it was too broad, and that it needed specificity, and if that's how you pronounce it. But it needed to be specific towards each individual population. But I think it's very difficult to make a theory or study or research these types of students and place them in a box and put a theory to them when they come from all over the world. They have so many different experiences. Their age range from 18 to adulthood, basically. So I guess where do we start? Like, it's just mind-boggling how many population of students we're responsible for. And I guess it kind of goes back to the institutions who has to hire professional staff to make sure that they are individuals who have a broad enough perspective and a vision to help all these different populations and not be just this systematic, I'm using this theory and that's that and this is the end of it. I think the readings kind of just embody the sense that you have to use multiple different perspectives to help all of your different types of populations. So I guess my question again is just, how do we find this balance? Do we start within house or do we start with the students? Is it a combination of both? Like, do we get parents involved? Like, where do we go? Have fun.